Okay, sorry for my appearance, but quick before this video starts, I've been editing it, and it was about a 45-minute long video, and editing down, it'd probably be like a 20 to 30-minute video. So I decided to split it into 3 parts. And if you guys like this video, then let me know down in the comments if you want it to be in 3 parts, or just conjoin the next 2 when you don't really care that it's long, or you just don't want to see any of them at all because you don't like the video. So let me know down in the comments, and yeah, enjoy the video. Hey guys, what's up? It is Taylor here, and today we are going to be doing reading pet store pamphlet sheet kind of things, like care guides pretty much, for CRESTED geckos. I've seen them in stores and stuff, but I didn't know they actually had stuff online. So I'm just going to be reading those. I don't know if they're different than the ones you get in stores or in here. I don't think you could fit all this information into a little pamphlet, but I don't know. The stores we're going to be doing is Petco, PetSmart, and Pet Supplies Plus. The idea behind this video came to me while I was on Petco. I was shopping for supplies for Miss Juno and maybe a mystery pet. But I came across this, and so I was like, huh. And one more thing before we get started with this video. Thank you guys so much for 1K. We finally hit it. That was my yearly goal after 500, and then we hit 1,000. And I don't know what the next yearly goal is. I don't think we're going to do yearly goals anymore because we just keep hitting stuff. I just like to say I love you guys all so much, and thank you guys for subscribing and watching my videos, and yeah. So I have them on my laptop. I'm just going to be going through the information. You guys will see it on the screen as I go through it, and yeah. So when you first go on, you see CRESTED, and then you see the scientific name, which I'm not going to be pronouncing because I don't know how to say that. So it gives you a little bit of information, just saying that they were extinct till 1994, which I read on several different websites, so I can vouch for that, saying that it's most likely true, and that they're from New Caledonia, which, yes, they are. I don't know if I said this already, but we're starting at Petco, then PetSmart, then Pet Supplies Plus. CRESTED gecko facts. The average adult size is 5 to 8 inches long, which I'm not really sure. I haven't really measured any CRESTED geckos in my lifetime, but yeah, they get about yay big, with including their tails and stuff. So maybe that's true. I'm not sure. Average lifespan, 5 to 10 years with proper care. Disclaimer before I just start saying stuff, these are my personal opinions on how I care. You guys may have different beliefs on care for CRESTED geckos, and these are just my opinions. We may have different opinions as always. So what I was going to say is, I believe that CRESTED geckos, if you saw my last video, I was talking about how they live for 15 to 20 years, and I believe that's the average kind of age range that they go to. I do not believe 5 to 10 years is a very long time for them. Diet, they are omnivorous. If you don't know what that means, they pretty much eat both plants and animals. Pangea or Rapashi diet, and then they eat insects. So, update habitat size as your reptile grows. Yes. Reptiles and any other animals will not stay as small as the cage they're given. They will always grow no matter what. If you do not already know that, then now you do. Diet. A well-balanced CRESTED gecko diet consists of commercial CRESTED gecko food, which is a balanced diet. This powder can also be used to dust insects. I've never heard of that. By CRESTED gecko food, they mean either like Pangea or Rapashi, which I've never heard of people dusting insects in that. I wouldn't personally, because you're supposed to add water to the mixture, and I'm not sure how that goes if you are planning on feeding your CRESTED gecko insects. I suggest dusting them in calcium or some type of Reptivite. As a treat, very important, as a treat, provide a variety of insects, including gut loading them, crickets, mealworms, and waxworms. Yes. Sweet baby foods such as peach, banana, or apricot can be mixed with CRESTED gecko diet and offered as a treat. I personally would never feed my gecko some sort of fruit and stuff because I'd rather just give them the complete diet rather than put in something that may or may not be harmful. And I don't like the way they worded that as baby foods when CRESTED geckos weren't really as popular, and some people used to feed them baby foods, so I don't like that. Feeding. Fresh, chlorine-free water should be available at all times. Yes, I always either mist down my cage so she can lick it off the sides or give a little cup, so yes, I agree with that. Feed every night, remove uneaten food in the morning. Based on my CRESTED gecko, I don't feed her every night, I feed her every other night, but that's really your decision and when your gecko decides to eat. If I feed her 2 days in a row, she will not eat the second day, so that's just how the plan goes. for me. Insects should be given at night 2 to 3 times weekly. Remove uneaten insects in the morning. I don't believe that you should feed your crested gecko insects every night because they're kind of like candy for your reptiles. Yes, you can feed them at least like once a month, but I don't specifically think you should feed them every day, every week. It's just, they don't really have much nutrition for them as like their gecko diet would be. Sprinkle insects with calcium. Yep. Alright, housing. Height is more important than floor space. Very true, because they are arboreal species, which means they like height, and they're not terrestrial, which means they like floor space. Habitat should have branches, live non-toxic plants. Yes, if you want to do a bioactive tank, you can use those, but make sure they are safe for your gecko, or you could use plastic. Maintain humidity 60 to 80. I like to have my temperatures in between that. So far, it's a pretty good care guide. Substrate. Use sphagnum moss, which I think I'm going to be picking up at some point to keep humidity in our tank. I've been reading a bit about it, so maybe pick up that, so I agree with that. And mulch type substrates. I mean, you can use them for your crested gecko. I specifically don't like giving Juno mulch or just really any reptile that's a crested gecko mulch, but that's just my personal opinion. So I use coconut fibers in Juno's tank, and coconut fibers are digestible. If they get a little bit while they're eating, it's totally fine. They'll be okay. But just thinking about like if they were to pick up a piece of mulch, I don't think really anyone or any reptile would like to eat mulch. That might hurt and that will cause harm to them, impaction and other things. So I know people use that in their enclosures, but I don't think I will ever use mulch in her enclosure, which isn't a bad thing if you do use it. Then it goes to talk about temperature. Yeah, that's, I guess, okay. I'd say room temperature is the best. Lighting, provide 10 to 12 hours. Yes, they should have a night and a daytime cycle. So day bulb is needed for a basking area. Crested geckos do not need basking areas. Sometimes light actually hurts them more than it does any good for them, so I do not recommend getting a basking light. I have a light arm in there, but it's only for heat at the moment. I never use it unless it gets really cold during the winter where I am. Keep only one male crested gecko per enclosure. Do not house different reptile species together. 2 males get very territorial. You can house females together, 1 female, 1 male, even though they probably will reproduce if you do it that way. But yeah, and do not house different reptile species together. Very important. I've had someone like come up to me and ask me like, why don't you just put like a leopard gecko in with your crested gecko? And that's because they are 2 different species and they can get stressed out very easily by having them in the same cage. And those animals have very different needs as well. Kind of like leopard geckos, terrestrial, they like heat. Crested geckos, they need humidity and they need height. So they just don't work. Normal behavior. Crested geckos are nocturnal and active at night, and spend most of their daylight and hidden in their habitat. True, they will jump very far, almost like frogs. Rough handling will stress your gecko and may cause them to drop their tail, which will never go back. If you're holding a gecko, make sure you are holding them at a safe distance so they will not hurt themselves if they do jump, and do not ever grab your gecko by the tail, any gecko in general, because most geckos will drop them as a defense from predators. That's what they did in the wild. They would let go of their tail if an animal were to grab onto it so they could get away. So make sure you never do that. Crested geckos lick their eyeballs to moisten them. Yes, because they do not have eyelids, and to get any debris or anything out of their eyes. Habitat maintenance. Thoroughly clean and disinfect the habitat at least once a week. Place chameleon in secure habitat. Place chameleon in secure habitat. Alright, Pecco, you need to check this up. I'm reading about crested geckos, not a chameleon. Why are you talking about chameleons? Do you have a chameleon with your crested gecko? After you just said do not house 2 different species together? Okay, that was just a typo, but that is really funny. This is just talking about rinsing, doing full cage cleans, and those seem all pretty good. Grooming and hygiene. Crested geckos regularly shed their skin, ensure humidity of the habitat at appropriate levels to allow proper shedding. To facilitate shedding, provide a box, a hide with sphagnum moss. This will aid shedding process. I do not believe that a shed box is necessary. Animals like leopard geckos and snakes may need a shedding box, like a humid hide. Crested geckos' habitats are humid enough, which I do not think they need a humidity box. Do not be surprised to see a crested gecko eating their shedding skin. I've never once seen Juno eating her shed, or just shedding in general, because once they shed, they eat their shed and stuff, so that's just something, but I've never actually seen it for my life. It just goes on to talking about the health, signs of healthy animals, red flags, and just different health issues. I'd rate Petco with their care guide about a 6 or a 7 out of 10 on their care. Some things, me personally, I don't agree with. Other things seem pretty spot on. As always, if you're getting a animal, do your research and don't always rely on these types of care guides. Bye!